Welcome to my channel. Welcome, and it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all, everyone. And as usual, I talk about the empowerment of a girl child, and it's something that I've always advocated for the girl child. Although now I do see the boys, they are struggling behind the girls, which is a sad situation really, when the boys are struggling behind and the girls are maturing even more and doing more things. So this is something that I've just been looking at, and probably I'll talk about it sometime. But today I just wanted to talk about my journey being a girl child, and how I've come out of it. You know, you don't keep on mourning and mourning and mourning of things that went wrong. There are times when you also have to get through the mourning time and know that it's time to move on. There are many times a lot of us will live in a loveless marriage just because it's our tradition. We are supposed to stay like that. We are supposed to be women, and we are supposed to be submissive. And then we end up getting broken. Some of us having to go through suicide or getting killed, or a lot of all these things happen. But I want to tell someone today that it's not over until it's over, until you tell yourself that I'm not going to be in that equation. I talked about, in my book, I talked about, I used to travel across the border, across oceans. I've traveled a lot of countries and trying to sell, trying to earn a living for my children, because I had 4 children at 28 years. I was still young, I was still a baby, but I was a mother of 4. So there was no time for me to be crying over spilled milk. It was time for me to wake up and smell coffee. So that is what I did. So I started going across the borders and selling my wares. When I was young, I talked about me going to a home craft school, where I used to learn how to do gardening, where I used to learn how to do my own clothes. I used to do crochet, I used to do knitting, I used to do baking, I used to do a lot of, the home, I could say the home craft things, which are meant for you to be prepared for a home. This is where I was, but I was still young. So only after my marriage, then I realized that, by the way, I've been to a home craft school. I can do my own dresses. I can even copy some of them and on a newspaper, and then go home and do some patterns out of them. Or I can look into the mirror, or I meet someone along the street and I look at this person who is wearing this dress, and I draw it on my book. And then when I go home, I would create a pattern and make a dress out of it. And I tell you what, it took me from point A to point B. I actually started being recognized by other people. People started bringing their own material, or I could make the outfits and then go and sell them. In Zimbabwe at that time, we had the first lady who was not Gracie, it was Sally Mugabe, who used to wear the African attire. And I was really fascinated by how she used to put on the headgear, and how she used the headscarf, and how she used to dress up. It was like a tailor would measure hair inch by inch. When she put on the African attire, she used to look beautiful. So I admired that outfit, and I started making those dresses and selling them across the borders. And people started following me. They knew my dates, that I was coming on that date, and they'll be waiting. This is how I started trading across the borders. And then finally, a friend of mine, she told me, you know what? People are going over to Mauritius. We were now going to go by plane. It was no longer this of traveling by in a chicken bus. So we started going to Mauritius for a week. So during that week, it's not a joke. You'll be selling. You've got bags on your back, and you are going from market to market. I'm telling you, I would look at it and think, was it hard? I wouldn't say it was hard because I enjoyed it thoroughly. This is how my life was. And this is what I had used to do, that every month end I would get my bags and I'll cross over the borders and earn a living for my children, because they were now growing up and they were now going into secondary education. And where I lived, my children wouldn't go to the B schools. It was always going to be the A schools, because I used to live right in town in the central city of Harare. So I had to make sure that the boys go to Prince Edward, the girls go to was it Queen Elizabeth? And so these were A classes, A schools, where people used to take their children there. And there I find myself, I was there competing with those people who had money, or competing with those people who had both parents. But I had to find my way on how to do this. So I used to go and see. I remember at Prince Edward there was this headmaster called Barnes. Barnes was really a good headmaster, and he understood me. And I when I went there, I said, oh, I made an appointment. I said, yeah, can I come and see you? And he said, yeah, Mr. Moto, you can come and see me. And so I went and I explained my situation. Sometimes you need to learn to ask. Sometimes you need to, if you're asking for something, say it correctly sometimes, because, and also have confidence in yourself. When you get to someone, look into that person with an eye that says, I need help. And many times I've done this, and I've actually got through a lot of things, because I would always go there humbly and say, please help me. This is what I want. I'm ABC. Because I had my second child, the number 3 boy. I've got 2 boys and 2 girls. So the number 3, who is a boy, he was very, I could say, he had this attitude in him where he used to think his father died. So because his father had died, he's not having enough because I'm not managing. So he would be so emotional, and he would be crying. I would come from work to find him crying, like he's really crying, when a child cries. And I would get home, he's upset, and I try to calm him down and then make sure that whatever he's asking, I will explain that, you know what, I will not be able to do it now, but I'll do it as soon as I get the money. I'll do it for you. And this is what we used to do. And sometimes I used to go with them across the border to South Africa, and they would be selling it with me as well, the boys and the girls as well, like, except the young one. I didn't take the young one, but the elder ones, the 2 boys and the senior girl, I used to take them to South Africa, and we would go and sell. And when we finish selling on Sunday or Saturday, we buy our goods to take home, because we have got some orders again from Zimbabwe to say, when you go to South Africa, this is what we want. I have to go to companies and canvas for orders. And because of this attitude, you know what? I didn't look at myself and think, because I didn't go to school. No, I used to think, whatever education that my parents gave me, it was enough for me to push me through and get what I wanted. So this is what I did. I was accountable to my children. When I recognized and realized that the marriage thing was not going to work and it wasn't meant for me, and I didn't want to fight anymore, I realized I had struggled a lot. I had walked the path. I had... I have been abused so much to a point where I thought, you know what, it's time to move on. So when I said I was ready to move on, I didn't bother even to look at my parents and think I need to go back to my parents. To me, that was a no-go area because of my previous. So it was a no-go area. And I had to make sure that everything that I touched was supposed to turn to gold. And this is what my friends used to tell me, that everything Katie touches turns to gold. They didn't know what battles I went through in the night, what sleepless nights I went through. But they used to look at me and think I was making it. And I also pretended I was making it as though things were okay, but they were not okay. But I didn't want to be a crybaby anymore. It was time for me to move on and be myself, be accountable to my children. My children, I wanted them to see that I was there for them, and I fought through all the battles. And I tell you what, at the end of it all, it came out just like what I wanted it to be. God propelled me to those heights, which even up to now, when I look at them, I always ask myself, how did I cross over this? How did I manage to do this? So in my book, I write about this, and I hope someone will pick it up one day and read it, even if it means I won't be here, or I'll be alive, or probably I don't, so many years after this. Because you know what? I believe the Europeans have known a lot of writing things down, and we go into the shops and buy books which they write, and we do not do that. So I just wanted to say, this is my first book, and I hope and trust that it will go far. To a girl child, rise up, stand up for yourself. Remember, self-care. You must love yourself before someone tells you that he loves you. You have got to fall in love with yourself first and take charge of your life. Marriage is not a contract. Marriage is for two people. And if that marriage doesn't work, feel free to move on. This is my message today, and I hope you are well. And I hope to see you again next time, and I'll tell you more about my journey as a girl child. You take care, and subscribe to my channel so that next time when I send another video, you'll be the first to know. Press the bell and make sure you subscribe and share. Thank you.